All right, let's talk about one of the most universally frustrating high-stakes situations we all run into. In this explainer, we're tearing down the psychology of public disrespect. We're going to look at why snapping back actually drains your power and how keeping your cool is the ultimate way to win the room.
So picture this. You're in a meeting making a really solid point, and out of nowhere, a coworker just cuts you off mid-sentence. They roll their eyes, and right in front of everyone, they say, "That's not even what we're talking about." Instantly, your chest tightens up, right? Your face gets hot. The whole room goes dead silent, and suddenly every single eyeball just flicks over to you.
So, what do you do in the next 3 seconds? Because I guarantee you, the voice in the back of your head is screaming to hit back, to defend yourself. But here's the crazy part. How you handle those exact 3 seconds will literally dictate how everyone in that room views you for the rest of the year. It's wild. But the research shows our instincts here are actually dead wrong.
To understand why, we have to look under the hood. Section 1, the anatomy of an insult. Now, what's really fascinating is that your brain doesn't just see a public put-down as a minor social annoyance. According to neuroscientist Joseph Ledoux, your brain actually processes this as a life-or-death physical threat. He calls this the low road. Basically, in a matter of milliseconds, your amygdala triggers a full-blown threat response, totally bypassing the rational part of your brain. So you aren't actively choosing to feel attacked. Your primal monkey brain has just decided, hey, you are in mortal danger from a snarky comment about a spreadsheet. And it gets worse when you add an audience into the mix. Let's move to Section 2, your brain under threat.
Take David, for example. He's a mid-level manager sitting in a tense planning meeting, and a colleague publicly blames him for missing a deadline. Now, why does David's face feel like it's on fire? Well, he's experiencing what researchers Dickerson and Kinney-May call a social evaluative threat. They found that cortisol, your primary stress hormone, spikes way, way higher when we're judged negatively in front of witnesses compared to when it just happens in private. It's literally a public status threat. So David has these two completely opposite forces battling inside him. On one hand, he's got millions of years of evolutionary wiring screaming at him to defend his status, because historically speaking, losing status in your tribe meant you lost your food, your protection, your survival. But on the other hand, the reality is he's just sitting in a perfectly safe, climate-controlled office building dealing with a logistics hiccup. The problem is his nervous system doesn't know the difference. And when we let that nervous system take the wheel, things go south fast. Section 3, why fighting back fails. You'd think the rest of the room would logically side with whoever had the best argument, right? Or whoever was technically correct. But nope. This is where Paul Slovik's concept of the affect heuristic comes into play. See, the room is not a jury carefully weighing the facts. Instead, the audience is forming this instant, gut-level emotional impression of who simply seems more in control. Researchers Baumeister and Vose actually found something mind-blowing here. Maintaining your composure acts as such a strong social signal that it literally overrides the words coming out of your mouth. The person who stays calm is consistently viewed as high status and trustworthy. Meanwhile, the person who reacts and gets defensive, they're subconsciously seen as out of control and losing power, even if they were 100% factually right. Let that sink in. The room doesn't care about your facts, they care about your frame. So, knowing all this, how do we actually stay cool in those crucial 3 seconds? Section 4, the power of composure. The secret weapon here comes from clinical psychologist James Gross, and it's called cognitive reappraisal. Basically, this is the deliberate act of reinterpreting a stressful event to change how it hits you emotionally. So instead of sitting there silently seething, imagine David mentally reframes the insult right in the moment. He just tells himself, okay, my coworker is just super stressed and cornered about this deadline. Doing that measurably drops his physical stress response. It literally buys his rational brain the few seconds it needs to boot back up. And here is where it gets incredibly powerful. By staying calm, you're actually hacking a process called emotional contagion. This is a concept studied by Hatfield, Cacioppo, and Rapson, and it's the unconscious way emotions spread around a room like a physical virus. Most people will catch an aggressor's angry energy and just naturally match it. But by staying completely chill, you're actively refusing to get infected. And that forces the emotional temperature of the entire room to recalibrate around your steadiness instead. Okay, so what does this look like in real life? Well, the winning move is almost never silence, and it is definitely never a counterattack.
Let's say David pauses, holds eye contact, and just says evenly, "I hear you're frustrated. Let's talk through what happened after the meeting." Think about what he just did. He didn't attack back, but he didn't roll over either. He held the frame using a calm, direct, low-volume statement. To see how this plays out long-term, let's step away from David and look at a nurse manager named Priya. She got publicly chewed out by a senior physician right in front of her whole team. But instead of escalating the fight, she used what relationship psychologist John Gottman calls a repair attempt. This is a specific kind of statement designed to de-escalate the tension without giving up an inch of your own ground.
So Priya just looks right at this senior physician and quietly says, "I made that call for a reason. Happy to walk you through it privately." It's brilliant. Her absolute composure refused to validate his public attack as acceptable behavior, but she skillfully left the door wide open for them to resolve it in private. And guess what? Weeks later, that same physician pulled her aside and quietly apologized. She absolutely won by refusing to let her nervous system write the story.
All right, understanding all this psychology is great, but only if you can actually use it. Section 5, your 3-second playbook. Here is your exact 3-step toolkit for the next time this happens. Step 1, name the threat. The literal millisecond you feel that hot flush in your face, recognize that it's just your amygdala firing. Tell yourself this is a biological threat response, not a verdict. Step 2, the deliberate pause. Take one full, deep breath. That is going to give you the space for that cognitive reappraisal we talked about. And step 3, the calm, direct statement. Hold your ground, keep your volume low, show them you are entirely unwilling to escalate, but you are also absolutely unwilling to disappear. Practicing these 3 exact steps will protect your professional reputation so much better than any clever, angry comeback ever could.
Because here is the profound truth underneath all of this research. The moments that feel the most incredibly threatening to your sense of self are actually the exact moments that most clearly reveal who you are when it counts. At the end of the day, these public, high-pressure conflicts aren't about the defensive person your anger wants you to be. They're an opportunity to showcase the highly respected, high-status person your composure proves you to be. So I'll leave you with this to think about. In your next moment of conflict, who does your composure allow you to become?